How y'all doing out there today? Well, tonight. Thank you all for joining us. We have an interesting show for you all tonight, giving facts about why even get married in modern times. So we just got some good information for you all. Um, you want me to do it? I'm gonna do it. You're gonna go ahead and my wife will elaborate on the. I'm gonna let my wife elaborate. I gotta go check out something real quick. I'll be right back.
Well, okay then. Tonight's topic is men and women. Why even get married in modern times, right? Why even get married? Modern times, especially now. That seems to be the conversation. Like people throw around all these different reasons. And I really think at the end, it really boils down to fear. If I catch you back up on not much I've been talking about, but
No, I've been listening.
it really boils down to fear. I really think that the number one reason, I can go through a whole list of stuff that you always hear people talk about why they don't want to get married. But really at the end of the day, it's just simply fear. And I think the best way to alleviate fear is knowledge and understanding. Proper knowledge and understanding.
I think there's a lot of different reasons why people are not wanting to get married today.
Yeah.
For men, aside from fear, it's more so finances. I think we covered that too in our previous videos on the trend of women not marrying, men marrying in their 30s. Men and women now are marrying in their 30s, which they're holding out more so, I believe, because of finances. So they want to get their finances in order. Young men are that's you know, young men are marrying at the age of 30, which shows me that they will be more financially fit than marrying in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, in today's economy, that is what is needed so that you have a good running start, a good base financially before you get married. So that is the key here. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the reasons why,
Yeah.
other than people saying that men are no longer interested in modern women, or either modern women are no longer interested in marrying average men. Those are some of the issues that are plaguing our society today. But yeah, I think fear always had something to do with it. Cold feet. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why you get that saying someone had cold feet at the altar. They're scared of getting married in the um, status of committing to someone or wanting to commit to someone. And yeah, I do think that does play a part in it.
Yeah, even you're completely right. I agree. Yeah, we can definitely go down the list of reasons why. That's not necessarily what I want to do, but I will say, even with your finances one, I often think that it's fear of like failure, not wanting to fail. Like, so because I think back then, like you were saying, and the men were more apt to get married in their 20s because it wasn't as looked at like you have to automatically have everything ready to go for a woman. A woman was more likely to work with you or, work with what you have and, grow with you.
Mhm.
And now, it's more like women aren't going to do that. And so it's the fear of, man, if I don't have my finances in check, then, we're going to fail. This woman's going to leave me hypergamy for the next man who has more, which is a very real fear. I'm not saying that none of the reasons why people are saying they don't want to get married is not valid reasonings for themselves. But I do think that the way to alleviate a lot of fear is through proper education and understanding of the benefits of marriage. Because believe it or not, the benefits of marriage outweigh all the fears you can come up with of the reasons why not to get married. At the end of the day, it just does. And we have compiled what I think is a great list of reasons why men and women benefit from marriage greatly. And it's very important even in modern times, even in this new age that we live in, where finances look different, the economy, all that looks different, environments look different, technology is different. Even with all these different changes, even more so family structures looking different, even still, with all those different changes, one common thing that still stands strong is that marriage is important and it does benefit both the man and the woman.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so can let's go ahead and can we get
Yeah.
down to the notes of this?
Yeah.
Um,
Have it
so
possible.
some reasons why marriage is important. Number one, men and women financial statuses tend to improve when they are married.
Mhm.
That is true.
Yeah.
Um,
Completely.
right,
All around, men and women. So we
right.
can go down that list. Yeah.
We have hypergamy for women. So women usually marry men who are best suited financially.
Hmm.
Um, and our whole thing is that we're preaching the fact that while you're married, you need to focus on retirement and your end goal of retiring in a safe and in a great financial standing. I know that today's economy is rough. I mean, it's harder, but that still should be the main focus in the marriage. One of the goals, rather, not the main focus, but one of the goals, one of the major goals in marriage is making sure that you both can retire well, and are well off in your retirement.
Yeah. And women get the benefit of, like you said, marrying up. So if women do understand their value at an early age and are committed to wanting to know what it takes to be a wife, wifeconomics.com, and are committed to the institution of marriage, right? They then have a great advantage to marry a man of a higher status, especially if they're of a lower status, to secure their ending, their retirement, what that looks like. And even maybe without them having to ever work, if they can appease and be a wife to a man who is willing to take on her as a wife.
Right.
Completely, especially, and wealthy men for sure would love to do that, especially if it's a woman that's ready, to go to be a wife to them. There is nothing wrong with that. And in fact, it's very much encouraged. Hypergamy is for women. I think that goes down to the simple aspect of women. We are natural nurturers. We're natural carers. You goes all the way down to our simple biological composition of having children, right? So we naturally want to be protected and provided for so that we naturally can provide children, right? And be in a safe environment to do so, a healthy, safe environment to do so. So under no circumstance is it in a woman's best benefit to marry a man who cannot provide that for her. It is in her best benefit to make sure that the man can provide a safe home and food and everything else that comes with a good healthy lifestyle, so that she can then produce children and support the family and stuff as well. So it's definitely a great financial thing for women to get married, of course, and that's a given. That's
Right.
that's very easy to start with. But the next one is that there is an elevation in a man's success statistically after he's married. In fact, on average, income and productivity increases by 26% after a man marries. Statistically, on average. So imagine those hardworking men who really then, now you got a home, you have a family, and don't let your wife be pregnant. Oh, you really gonna go out here and get it and do great things within the community because marriage has given you an extra why,
Well, I think also too employers, they like to see signs. I know managers, they like to see signs of employees having other responsibilities, in particular raising families. They like to see that because they know that that man is responsible, and also he has a reason to come to work. To
Yeah.
be honest with you, that is the driving factor for him, is to be a financial provider for his family. So they like to see that. So as a manager myself, I would love to hire someone who is married as opposed to someone who isn't. But overall, I do look for the skills. That's what I look for first, to make sure that they have the merit and the skills for the job. But the bonus is having someone who is married to come aboard, because I know that we can you will be a reliable asset, being the fact that you have a family to take care of. So
Yeah.
men are able to, men or women, if you work in your relationship, you're able to get more I guess looks when it comes to your resume. Well, not necessarily your resume, but the things that you say in your interview that can imply that you are a family oriented person.
And
Um,
discipline.
right.
I think being married shows discipline. And in fact, a lot of men, in order to reach a certain level of status within their career, you will see that they are 9 times out of 10 married. And because of that, I think it implies discipline, not only to get up, go to work, do the things you need to do to provide for your family, but also sexual discipline, right? So you are able to control yourself in an environment where you may be tempted. Now, not saying that high value men or men that make a lot of money and tend to be around a lot of different women aren't tempted and won't cheat, but you are less likely to be reckless with it, right? Because you now, especially if you have elevated yourself to a certain status, you're not going to want all your business aired out like that. Like, you're going to want to be a little more discreet with your stuff that you got going
Right.
on.
Or
So
either
yeah.
you should be, disciplined. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
or discipline.
presumption.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
presumption that is carried when you are married and you're in the workforce.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is true. I mean, your employer expects that you behave accordingly.
Yeah.
And otherwise it's frowned upon, it's shunned upon. So yeah, that is what is looked for. And then married families have the highest income and average net worth of all families, of all family structures. So with that being said, that is another great benefit of on why you should be married. You have more money in your family. You're able to buy your necessities, the things that you need.
Yeah.
And that's proven. Those
Yeah.
are some statistics. Children in a married family are least likely to live in poverty or live on public assistance. So that is true too. So
And that goes right to the income, ability to produce more income.
right, and that's whether the man or the woman or both are working.
Yeah.
So you all play to your strengths. So we live in a modern day and age where more than likely sometimes women may be able to breadwin in the relationship. So both parties, both men and women, need to work together in order to build each other's careers and also to provide for their families. And it shows that children in married households are likely to live less in poverty.
Yep. And that's super important. We're actually going to get into children a lot more later. But also, married adults are more likely than their cohabiting peers to have emotional and, I guess, physical support to provide that to their parents and to get it from their parents as well. So that's basically saying, you have a family now. You're better stable, one, to either take on your elderly parents as they get older. So the older parents benefit from your child being married because, like I said, you're more stable. And then two, if you happen to fall a little short, you can often reach out and get more help because you also have a family and people are thinking about, hey, like, they're more understanding to, hey, you're not just helping one person, especially your parents. They'll definitely be like, hey, my son needs help. I'm willing to help him, his wife, and his kids. It's a lot more. They'll be a little less tough on you than if you're just a single man and, you go to your parents and you be like, I'm struggling. My mom be like, get out there and get another job, like do what you got to do. But if you got a family, mom will be a little more, mom and dad, maybe a little more empathetic and be like, hey, like, I understand you got a whole family. It's a lot. Like, I'll still help you out, So just studies statistically that shows another advantage. There are also, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, I was just going to say the thing about the emergency.
Yep, I was, yeah.
Right. So, people are more so able to crowd around you in the case of emergency because it's more of a empathetic situation and understanding that, you all are coming from some sort of challenge that had happened.
Yeah.
God forbid, home fire or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think in general, people are more apt to help people when in the time of need, but more so with two parents involved, they're able to be resourceful and try to go out and work together to try to get resources that they need in the case of an emergency.
Yeah.
So,
and even to even want to plan for an emergency, right?
Mhm.
Because now when you are married, you think, okay, especially if you have kids, you think, okay, we
more
gotta,
options.
yeah, and we gotta make this work. And so you're not going to like just quickly give up and say, well, it's me and be homeless. You know, like you're more, you got more little motivation, right, to go out here and like keep doing what you got to do so that you can get through. And then also too, like when you I always think of like end of the world scenarios. I hate to catastrophize, but like end of the
The
world,
zombie apocalypse.
yeah, right. Like men and women, it's better if you got a team, right? So you're talking about y'all are a family and stuff has hit the fan. If you know that you got your person right next to you, you're more likely to do the things you need to do to make it through a situation, you know, at the end of the world type stuff. You know, one person go out and such. You know, it's a team. You know, there's always benefits to having a team in emergency situations.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Single individuals who aren't working generally, this is tax benefits. So we're getting to the tax benefits of marriage. And generally, like when you have your IRAs, single individuals can't contribute over, what's the exact number? I can't remember. I think it's like, I guess it just really depends. But like using a joint income, say, for example, you are a single individual woman. This is easier to use for a woman. The woman is single and within a marriage. If the man is working, he can have a IRA for himself as well as open up one for his spouse, even though she's not working. So she'll benefit from having the retirement things that we're talking about. She'll benefit from having him working, even though she's not working. She can still contribute to have an IRA, whether that's a combined joint IRA account with her husband or two separate IRA accounts, even if she's not married. Now, if you are a single individual, even if she's not working. Now, if you are a single individual and you're not working, you can't contribute to an IRA. So disadvantage there. Like now you got to stack up on the side your own little retirement thing. Now, you know, it is what it is, but I'm just saying it's a tax benefit that way. Retirement, when we were talking about for finances for married couples. Yep. What did I see? Oh, yeah. Of course, other tax benefits. You can get like discounted auto insurance, cheaper home insurance rates, and even loans and credit card rates are cheaper statistically when you're married. You are showing more credit worthiness. You'll, I guess, say you're more reliable, you know.
Right, yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's a status. You know, being married is a status, so that it shows. So they you know, if someone has to work, you know, to maintain the family, so
auto insurance.
That is a bonus to the banks when they know that you are a provider or someone's providing for the family unit.
Yeah, and auto insurance and house insurance, all insurances, because like you're a little less likely to be reckless in a car if you know you got a family, you know, on board, baby on board, you know, like you're driving safer versus if you're single, you're doing whatever you want to. It's more of a risk. Or like health insurance too. So they'll look at
your marital status.
Yeah.
Because, like we said before, people who are married live longer.
Yeah, and we'll get into that next too. We're still on finances,
you can pay longer for your life insurance.
Yeah. So all of that, it looks good too, and all of that just helps benefits on the long run. And homeowners insurance too, which is very interesting. Single compared to married. That's very interesting. And the last one, I think this was, the last one for the finances. You want to do that one?
Well, the married couples can leave an unlimited amount of money to their spouses without generating any estate tax.
Yeah.
So what that means, when you pass, then the money will go to your spouse without paying any additional estate tax. So you don't have to go to probate court for that money, where you're going to have to pay a local tax or state tax, and all that other stuff. Federal, I don't think they do federal taxes for that. I don't think it was a federal tax, but it's local city tax, and then also a state tax.
Yeah.
In the case of a passing of a loved one, your spouse,
the court fees, all the court fees and all. This the local,
Well, you won't even have to go to court, because you have a beneficiary. That's recognized.
And right after death, the surviving spouse will have that.
So that's something that you all probably do not understand or know nothing about. But if you are not married, then your next of kin pretty much has to reconcile all of your payments. And
got to go to probate court.
That's done through probate court, correct? Where you have to pay a fee or a tax to that local county court
to petition it first, even if you get approved, even before to petition.
And this process can take months, if not years, in order to get this money out. So that's the reason why it is important to have a living will of some sort.
Yep.
If not of some sort of indication to recognize your beneficiary being your spouse.
Yeah.
More than likely you have a marriage license, so that will be recognized by the state.
Yeah.
In the time of need.
Yeah. If you have that,
if you have that.
And if you don't, then you then have to prove that you are the next to do all of this and handle your person's bit. It doesn't even matter if you live with this person for all this amount of time.
For common law marriage, to be honest with you too.
Right. And don't let that other person already be married to somebody else or divorced or something.
My advice to common law married people out there, that is the thing. Get a living will.
Yeah.
If you know that you've been living with your spouse or your significant other for 10 years and you're not going anywhere, and in case you die in a car accident, God forbid, that person doesn't have to struggle and try to reconcile all these payments and petition this in probate court.
Yeah.
They will be readily available, have access to your assets when you, in the case you pass.
Yeah.
It will save them a whole lot of heartache, and they're already grieving.
Yeah.
Don't let them have to go through the probate court process because it can be stressful.
Yeah.
It is stressful.
Yeah, and long-term couples don't think about that.
No,
you really don't. You think it's okay, just now not having, you think it's a piece of paper. No, this after, especially in unexplained circumstances, you need something to help. If this is your spouse who you love and care about, you need something to help them along the way in case you do pass away.
Right. I mean, I'll even talk about those polygamous relationships out there.
Yes, that's even
There's
worse.
Something that they are neglecting to figure out. What happens when someone passes in a polygamous relationship?
Unless you have a will, like we said, you
more than likely they don't have a will.
Right.
But then again, that'll probably be an argument because why I don't get this in the will, in the case, you pass and you giving it to the first wife or instead of the second wife.
Right.
Those are just things that polygamists have to worry about.
If you don't decide that one spouse get married,
you get married to one spouse, because here in the United States you can't get, married to two people.
Right.
But so I don't know, polygamists. If you're there, let us know how you all plan finances after death.
Or is it even till life do y'all part? Do y'all even think that far? I don't know.
I don't know either. But I'll be interested. If anybody got any questions or comments, by all means, please chime in. While we're talking about this. But that is some deep information there, some jewels right there that a lot of common law married people out there probably do not think that far to get some sort of official documentation done that connects them to somebody, in the case of need. So if you know anybody out there who is in that situation, share this video with them because they need to hear this message.
Yeah.
This is information probably by far their parents have not told them because their parents probably have not gone through these situations yet where, they are widowed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it's easier if you are married.
Yeah.
By far.
So much easier. So much easier. You just save yourself a lot of heartache and then.
Right.
Yeah. Or headache too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's something me and my wife both have experienced in our lifetimes.
Yeah, probate case's not fun,
And then number 2, men and women are healthier when in healthy marriages. We touched on that in our first video, I think, on the reasons why you should get married.
I like that you said healthy marriages because all of this disclaimer, I think we forgot that disclaimer in the beginning. We're talking about a healthy marriage. Right. So men, vet your spouse before you get married. And
ask them those
finances.
9 questions that we had in that video.
Yeah.
Really, we titled it 7, but we gave you 2 bonus questions. And I always say that because we gave you 2 bonus questions. But yeah, by all means, please go beyond your favorite color, your favorite animal, and favorite I don't know, food to eat and all that
Yeah.
nonsense.
Dig in
Dig
deep.
dig
Talk
in deep.
especially about finances. Talk about what that whose debt looks like what, because that's
Right.
something you guys take
Credit
on.
checks. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
that you have proper credit check on your spouse. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't do that. How many of y'all got married out there and didn't even think of a credit check and then realized that, oh my goodness, my spouse
Yeah.
got $100,000 worth of student loan debt.
Yikes.
How are we going to pay this off when we both make 55,000 each, or 45,
Right.
or 60, or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be.
Those tough
Those are things that you do need to know before you get married, so that you can plan around it. Or either, you know, if you have a better suitor and it comes down to finances, then you know who to pick.
Right.
Like, that's just life. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially guys out there who play in the field. It might come down to, you got two beautiful women that you're courting.
What's your credit score?
Right. And then you go, and whoever says, my credit score is 800, then that's the one you pick.
Or debt. Like, because I guess men wouldn't really care about credit score, but debt more than ever.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Like, how much debt you got? Yeah. That's what I said. That was my bad example. But yeah, debt. Let me fix that. Yeah. Like, what your debt look like?
Yeah. I mean, because you need to know that stuff.
Yeah.
Before you get into a marriage.
Yeah, it's important. It's so important. So again, we backtrack, but yeah, right. Men and women are healthier when they're in healthy marriages. That is statistically proven every single time. There's no way around it. And, I guess one of the theories, I'll say this first. One of the theories is that, happy people get married. Usually, on average, people are already happy when they get married. I think one of the studies talked about how right before a person gets married, they're often at their peak happiness, right? So naturally, right before you get married, and when you're in married, and maybe a couple years after you honeymoon phase, and we talked about the stages of your marriage and stuff, and so you hit that 5 to 7 year crisis stage, whatever, you're on cloud 9, you're just pretty happy because of the love that you've taken into your life. So one of the theories is that, the people are naturally happy. But of course, you generally know that marriage, just being married, contributes to happier people overall, for sure, and healthier people overall. So, oh, shoot, I think I jumped over to the healthy, happy one. I've combined it all together. But anyway, so many studies link marriage, good health, and mental well-being all together. So that's kind of why it's easy to tie it in. But research has shown that married couples are more likely to survive cancer or a heart attack more on average than single couples, and then they are less likely to suffer from a stroke. And studies have even shown that they are often discharged from the hospital an average of 2 days earlier than single people.
Right. I mean, and there's multiple reasons why, other than just being with someone. You have someone there that's physically there who can look out for you, especially when you are in the time of need or some sort of health crisis. So whether you yourself, if you're experiencing some sort of health crisis, I remember I did.
Yeah.
Dealing with some low back issues.
Yeah.
So when you are, like that old commercial in the 90s, you fall and then you can't get up.
Yeah.
Who's going to be there to help you up, or help call the ambulance or 911 for you?
Yeah.
Can't get to your phone.
Or take care of you afterwards.
Right.
Or even hold your hand while you're there in the hospital.
But those are the reasons why that your life is extended, because you actually have someone there who's physically there and capable to provide some sort of help for you and give you some sort of attention. Because I can say that it's probably, if someone is experiencing a heart attack, that person who's having a heart attack will more than likely not be able to reach that aspirin in that cabinet. So you're going to need somebody there with you in order to get those type of things. It's just some of those intricate details that
show you're supposed to be with somebody.
Well, yeah, and this shows the benefit as well of having someone with you, having a husband or a wife with you, someone who cares that much about you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true. And on average, married people are less likely to suffer from depression than
and mental illness.
And mental illness, than unmarried people. So on average, too, marriage seems to equate roughly to the same benefits of a healthy diet and exercise. So that's great to know. Just being married can really help overall boost your health. That's awesome. Also, generally, they say that the social support and, of course, the practical reasons is why, like my husband was talking about why, but also a spouse is more likely to encourage healthier behaviors, right? So you want to see your spouse live longer and be in your life for as long as they possibly can. You're going to encourage healthy habits. If you see them doing things that aren't good for their health, you're going to want them to change, or even, and a lot of time for like men, they don't want to go to the doctor or whatever. They're kind of scared of the doctor, but the woman could be the one like, hey, honey, you need to go to the doctor. Like, trying to encourage those healthy behaviors. So yeah, just being married helps with that.
And then also eating habits.
Yep.
A lot of single men, we eat, fast food. Single men usually just eat, fast food, especially after a hard day of work.
Yeah.
You don't feel like coming home and having to cook after you've been, standing up all day. And then usually the wife comes in and cooks and prepare meals for the family.
Yep.
That is a big one, not having to eat McDonald's every day,
right,
all day.
Yeah.
Because that contributes to a lot of heart disease and high blood pressure and things like that.
Yeah.
So that is less prevalent in people who are married as well. So
yep. And don't let her be a health nut too on top of that's a win-win, because then you really got to sneak your burger in, because she gonna make sure you eating your carrots and your celery. So yeah, health benefit again right there. Another one is that a spouse, well, I think we talked about this a little more, but the emergency, being able to call the ambulance, but also when married couples are married, they're less likely to just engage in risky behavior. So that reasons where they would need to, call an ambulance or something like that, or be in some type of situation where they would more likely hurt themselves or something like that. They're a little safer than if they, were single. On average, health insurance studies have shown that. So that's another benefit to being married.
Risky behavior. I thought of like cheating.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I would hope that married people have less STDs as well.
Oh gosh, yes.
Not unless you're out there swinging. So be careful of those STDs if you're out there swinging.
Yeah. Again, disclaimer, we are talking about healthy, happy marriages here, not them trying to figure out marriages. That ain't, no, yeah. So yes, you should have less STDs if you are married, or no STDs. Let me not say less. No STDs.
That brings us to this one too. Consistent sex can protect from prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Study shows that if a man has more than 27, a man is supposed to have 25 to 27 ejaculations a month. That will stave off prostate cancer.
Yeah, and I think that number was like 30%. That's huge.
What's 30%?
The decrease of cancer.
Oh yeah,
risk.
It's like 20 to 30% decrease.
Yeah, that's huge. Huge.
Yeah,
and that's consistent sex. You're supposed to, again, in a happy, healthy marriage, have consistent sex.
Right, and I think like an hour of sex or 30 minutes. I think probably an hour of sex is equivalent to 3 days of 30-minute exercise.
Yep.
So that's another big positive too.
Yep. Working them out, toning them abs and all that other stuff. Yeah, you get all that in. Yeah, so ding, ding, another benefit. All right, so the next one, men and women, of course, going back to what we were talking about, healthy mind, the healthy mind, body, and spirit connection when it comes to being married. But overall, statistically, married people are happier. We're talking about happy marriages, of course, but statistically, you're shown to have less chance of depression. You have somebody to talk to, less chance of course, not addressing those behaviors that need to be addressed, right? So the beautiful thing about a relationship, right, is that it mirrors often showing you the things that you probably need to work on, or the things that, need to be addressed within how you communicate, how you function, how you operate. So the great thing about a relationship is it can reveal that to you and help you to introduce healthier behaviors into your life,
right?
Because you have a spouse to get along with, right?
Right. Yeah, I agree too. Having a spouse helps you to review yourself as well, to make healthier lifestyle changes. And that is productive to you, and your spouse as well. So yeah, you are mostly happier, or should be happier in your relationship.
Yep, especially if you're doing the work, right?
Right. Study shows that 36% of people who have ever been married,
say
that they are very happy while just 11% are not too happy compared to 22% and 15%. So
Yep.
that statistic blows all that
Yeah.
people not getting married stuff out of the
Yeah,
water.
yeah. That's from the General Social Survey. I just want
Right.
to throw that. That's where that statistic
So
come
all
from.
those women who are those statistics that we previous showed before that women are not getting married. That
Mhm.
these statistics are saying that you all are not very happy being single. How many people out there really are happy being single compared to people who are out there looking for love?
Yeah,
A lot of people are not happy because they don't have anyone or
yeah,
someone to talk to.
yeah,
Think about even like violent crimes and offenders
yeah,
or
yeah.
habitual offenders. These
Mhm.
people more than likely don't have love or have not have an example of what pure love is in their life, and
Mhm.
then so they are acting out. Just
Mhm.
like young children who are going through some sort of trauma in their
Neglect or
life and
something.
neglect.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
act out whether they are in their youth or either in their older ages, or
Yeah,
while they're approaching adulthood.
yeah. For the attention.
Right.
Yep.
So or even just little kids who just want attention. You
Mhm.
can see what many examples throughout life where how and why it is important to have someone in your life being
Yeah.
married to. It makes it easier
Yeah.
to release stress, to talk to someone,
Yeah.
to just have that bond with somebody is a lot. Dealing with mental health and stress and things, it means a lot, especially if you're enduring stress or some sort of stress on your work at
Yeah.
work, so you can have someone there to talk to, voice your opinions with, and hoping that they understand you or give you that safe space to help verbally communicate that information.
And share your wins with even too. When you have those great promotions or those great things that happen, it's nice to have somebody to share that with.
Right.
As much as you, of course, you're gonna have these outliers where women and men are just like, oh, I'm completely happy single and da 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 da. But at the end of the day, when something great happens to you, what is the first thing you want to do?
Tell your
Share it with
spouse.
somebody.
Yeah.
Anybody, you want to share it with somebody.
Right.
But in particular, the best thing is to share it with a spouse. Like that's somebody that you would call when things are good, call when things are bad. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we all generally know the truth. You feel better when you got somebody. Like,
Oh yeah,
that's
most
just
definitely.
that's
Most
just
definitely. I mean,
sad.
I
Like,
don't, I don't. Yeah, it's weird seeing somebody who's just pushing people away.
yeah.
In life,
Yeah, and as
people
much
aren't. That's not productive, and people aren't happy
yeah,
doing that.
and in a way, it kind of seems like I don't play with mental health at all, but it kind of seems like in a way that encourages kind of a decline in your mental health when you are
Right.
isolated from other people. You there is not, you can't show me a study that will say if you spend so much time in isolation you get better. Hell, they throw you in jail and lock you in a cell like away from people for that reason. They ain't trying to get you better.
Right.
This is isolate you because it's damaging to your mental health. So if even if you have all the money in the world, all the cats in the world, all the dogs in the world, all the gold jewelry, whatever you can think of, at the end of the day, if you are missing somebody that you can socialize with, connect with, commune with, you're not going to be as happy as you would be if you had that person,
Or
period.
didn't have somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That brought me to that idea, or that statement that you said brought me to that an article that I read about retirement. And how people felt after they retired. Well, the number one thing that they missed the most was the social interaction of their
Yeah.
coworkers. That
Mm-hmm.
was the number one thing that they missed the most. So
Yeah.
people are social.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why we talk. That's the reason why we communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just seeing someone who's not social, more than likely, often at times they're grumpy people. They
Yeah.
don't have someone around them um to express their feelings and how they feel and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
A Christmas Story. I
Right.
think of stuff like that.
Well, I was
Movies like
thinking
that.
about
Like,
that the cat lady
oh
who
yeah.
had all the cats and she was being
Aw.
evicted. She was unhappy.
Yeah, the story, and she blew up the house. Like,
Right.
yikes! That is the extreme
So I mean,
case. Whew.
you know,
Yeah.
we all people need people. We all need people, and marriage is by far one of the easiest ways to have access to someone who you can share your feelings and your emotions with in a healthy way,
Yeah.
hopefully. But because
And your
it
thoughts too.
right, because it's all therapeutic, just talking and communicating. This is therapeutic.
Yeah.
We hope that people use us as a source of therapy and talk with us as well in order to just
Grow.
maintain, sanity and relieve stress sometimes.
Yeah, like that lady that wrote in. She said, I'm just
Mhm.
looking for some sanity out here.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where, just having that lifeline is a it can mean the world of a difference to somebody. And it makes
Yeah.
it easier if you are married to someone.
Yep. One more study that I actually have on my wifeconomics.com website is the longest study by a Harvard professor. I think the study right now has been like over 30 years of him studying couples from, I think they early marriage. You're talking about like these are old couples, so they got to marry very very early, but like over 30 years of them first getting married and then like their life and their time, and now that they're older they look back like statistically just being like loneliness kills. That was the number one statement that stood out to me, that he said loneliness kills. It kills more than heart disease, it kills more than cancer, it does be, and it kills just like you were putting something toxic in your body, because you just, I don't know, you're depriving yourself of what I really believe is something that we fundamentally need:
Right.
companionship and love and
That
connection.
dopamine and serotonin
Yeah,
in your
right.
brain chemicals, really,
Yeah.
that you make when you share wins, like my wife said, with someone,
Mm-hmm.
or just express things and experience things with.
Yep. Yeah, that's so true. So the last one, of course, we got to mention marriage is good for the kids, y'all. Y'all
Yep.
know that at the end of the
We
day,
let the kids.
we let the kids, and it's all about the future generations, because they're going to be here when we ain't here. And we want to see our kids thriving and surviving and doing great things. And if we look around at the state of our communities and where we're at now, we all can agree that coming from single parent homes, we're coming from single parent homes, so we can definitely attest to how much it stunted us and our ability to be whole, healthy adults on the first try, right? And I'm talking about like just coming from straight from your household into the adult world, not having to fix yourself,
Right.
improve yourself, build yourself up, not having to do any of that, because studies have shown that marriage, of course, disclaimer, marriage, of course, is not the only way that a child can succeed, right? We know that you don't have to come from a two-parent household. In fact,
Right.
that was one of the through things for me that my therapist told me years ago, was that, you commonly say that you wish you had two parents, because it was a lot of the things that I didn't have to work on had I had my mother and my father both married and in the household. So that was one thing that, stood out for me. But honestly, you don't need two parents. You can do the work. You can really, it is just doing the work to make yourself a easier and better person, a more equipped person and healthier person overall to get out into the world and function. If you don't have two parents, it requires more work. But marriage, on average, children who have come from two-parent households who are committed to each other are more stable, they have more economic resources, and they take advantage of intended and welcomed paths so that they can flourish. So they're more likely not to engage in self-destructive paths of life, and instead go for the ones that will have their success in life,
Right.
because that's where they come from.
That statistic that we had brought up on our first video, what was, I forgot, what is it, 26% of children who are raised in single parent households are 26% likely to be incarcerated in their adult years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that speaks a lot. When you, like, and I said it before, when you look at a slice of a pie, that's 1/4, roughly 1/4, a quarter of a
Yeah.
pie. 26 over, yeah, it's over a quarter of a pie.
Mhm.
Chance likely of being incarcerated. So
Yeah.
it is a big deal when you have both of your parents in the household where both parents are having a healthy relationship, and then also are able to instill those principles, morals, and ethics into the children.
And behavior patterns, yeah,
Right.
ways of communicating, because the child pays attention to that, how you communicate, how you get through issues, pay attention to all of that. And speaking of what you were saying about the more likely to even go in jail, if you look overall, what I think the numbers was like 80%
Yeah.
of those that are in jail.
Incarcerated a single parent.
Single parents. That's a huge number.
Right.
Whew. That's a huge number.
Right.
Like, so if that doesn't speak alone for itself, then, you know.
And what majority of them are raised by single women. So, you know,
and you look at the men.
Most of the men make up the population who are incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important for fathers to stick it out with in your marriage and to raise your children, raise your boys.
Yeah.
Especially through the years after 11 years old. That's when the boy needs you the most, man. You need to step up to the plate, take care of your sons, and instill proper morals and ethics into your boys, so that they can grow up, and especially for you to be an example for them to look up to.
Not young girls too. Girls
most
need
definitely.
That
girls
too.
Need their daddy too in order to find good men.
Yeah,
that is a reference for young girls.
Yeah, and believe it or not, research has shown that children who receive gender-specific support from having a mother and the father in the home are more likely to, for one, here's some actual numbers, they're 33% times more likely to not suffer from any type of abuse or neglect than children who don't have both the mother and the father in the household. And then also they're able to recognize the gender dynamics of having a mother who is nurturing and caring and a father who is the disciplinary. So when I say girls really benefit from having the father in the home too, because he provides that structure, that structure of, you know, you don't have to give into all these, you know, act a certain way towards boys and stuff like that. It gives you a certain conduct, just like you were saying with a man will teach a boy how to be a boy. He also helps the woman to recognize what a good man is,
right,
and who to avoid and not be around.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I think women need that more than often now in these times.
Yeah,
you know, because picking your boyfriend, you know, a lot of women can attest to that they've made a lot of mistakes on who they chose as their boyfriend, or maybe as their first husbands or things like that, with the statistic of women initiating divorce at 80%.
Yeah.
So it is important for the fathers to come across these men and vet them for their daughters.
Yeah, and you see the interaction.
Right.
You the women get to see, especially with the mother and father stay together, you get to see the interaction between respecting a man and having him lead the family and what that looks like, and that's okay. And even to feel comfortable taking a man's leadership, his guidance, his advice, what he has to say, and to heed that, you know, take heed to that and not kind of brush it off or not value that because you didn't have a man in the household. So you don't feel like it's of importance because that's not what you grew up around. So it really is important for gender dynamics and just seeing how a man operates with a woman, how a woman cares for her man, right? So it's great if a young girl can see her mother giving love and support to the father and not feel like it's weak or anything, but just to understand and value her role as a woman and the great role she plays in supporting a man and his ability to support the family.
Right. Yep. Modern women listen up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why I believe that less women are getting married here in the United States, because they haven't seen that dynamic, that man-woman marriage dynamic in a healthy manner growing up. That's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
So what is the reference for the modern woman to see a healthy marriage?
Right.
They haven't seen one.
Nope.
You know? So therefore they're going based off of all experience of what they had in their previous and prior relationships, and they carry all of that into a marriage.
Yep.
And then their expectations are unrealistic, and then that's what gets them into a divorce.
Or they don't even value it.
Right. Or either they don't value a marriage at all, or their husband at that. So I mean,
that independent woman syndrome, right, kicks in then.
There's a lot of work that we need to do as far as our communities and getting together and having proper conversations and dialogues about marriage.
Yeah.
And then also too actually seeing examples and people being successful with marriage. So we really need that in our day in life.
And that's what we're here for. This is what we are doing this for. Not just for us and you guys, but for our kids. We got children at the end of the day, and it's important for children and for y'all, if y'all got children, at the end of the day, it's important for our children to see this for the biological functions and understanding of just their roles, natural gender roles. And there's nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, there isn't. And in fact, statistically, a single mother is 14 times more likely to suffer serious physical abuse than a child living with married biological parents. Another statistic, a child whose mother cohabits with a man other than the child's father is 33 times more likely to suffer a serious physical child abuse. It goes back to the other one I was talking about too, 33 times, again, more likely to suffer from serious physical child abuse. Another great statistic. So, I mean, it's just overall, you see children benefit from marriage, and the marriage, the people, we, the mother, the father, the wife, the husband, benefits from marriage as well. Also, growing up outside of an intact marriage increases the chance that children themselves will divorce or become unwed parents. Single mothers, you create a perpetual cycles of more single mothers or more single fathers. That's out here too, you know, that perpetual baby daddy, baby mama struggle. Like, we don't think that that's a generational curse, but it is. And the curse is because you didn't see something different. You didn't know how to do something different.
Or had the values instilled in you while you were young. On how to be a father or a mother. Or a wife, or more importantly, a wife and a husband.
Yeah, and you fear it. We kind of hit on this, I think, I can't remember, a couple of videos back, I think, but we kind of hit on the fear that people have
fear,
around
lack, and scarcity.
Yep, of marriage in general, because they don't think that, you know, they have what it takes to commit because mama didn't commit, daddy didn't commit, you know,
if they
grandpa,
can't do it, we can't do it.
Yeah, people take on that mentality, and, you know, that's really important to recognize if you have a fear of commitment because you didn't see that. And, you know, therapy, of course, will really take you to be able to recognize those, because sometimes we don't even recognize that that's something that we, you know, are doing. You just see yourself running from relationship to relationship, and you blame it on, oh, I haven't found the right person, when really that probably isn't the case. It's you maybe fearing this commitment, fearing going into something that is unknown. But, you know.
But you know, for the women, by everything that we've said and all the information that we provided for the women out there, if you're looking for more skills and trying to understand what it means to be a wife, please check out my wife's Wifeconomics website, wifeconomics.com. Check out the courses, because they will help you to become marriage fit as far as being a wife, how to get the man that you want, and then also to how to allure that man and inspire that man.
And make your marriage last forever.
And make your marriage last. That is correct. Because a good man does not have a defense for a good wife. He does not.
Yeah.
So.
And that's true. That is so true. I couldn't have said it by myself. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome, honey.
No, but yeah, that's so true. So that's why, even in modern times, marriage, yes, is important. And we have gone through a whole list of reasons why. Run this back, send this to your family, your friends, and those who try to tell you, oh, I ain't getting married. Marriage ain't important. Marriage is.
Yeah, by all means, please share this. Share this message with people, the non-believers out there who think that marriage is not needed and it's not important anymore, because it really is, especially for your children. If you have children out there, marriage is definitely important for them to see an example of that. If you care about them, you need to show them that marriage is important, and you want to give them a good start in their adult life, especially if they get married, and show them what it means to be a husband or a wife in today's environment, in this age. So please, share this video, like and subscribe, and until next time, peace. We used to be able to hear it.